What's going on? Crafty Review here. I'm Gabe, my boy Londo here. We're up in the woods here in northern Arizona. It's getting too damn hot down in the valley. 110.
Temperature was actually read out too damn hot.
Yeah, really, that's what it said. It said, just stay the hell inside. That's what it said. So decided to come up north here in the woods. You know, of course, just because we come up in the woods doesn't mean...
You see all type of crazy shit out here, right? Crazy people, crazy animals.
Yep. Some crazy animals that are actually people. But it's been a good time up here. I love it. We do it every year. It's good times, but you know, just because we're coming up here away from the city doesn't mean we can't have good beer.
Of course.
Right? So we brought some players with us today. This beer is Wasatch.
Wasatch.
I was having a hard time pronouncing the name. Londo's actually from Utah, which is Wasatch. I think you said it's a mountain range.
Yeah, it's a Wasatch front. If you're from the 801 or from Salt Lake, northern Arizona, northern Utah, you're very familiar with the Wasatch front. So. Yep.
So Wasatch Brewing, been brewing since 1986. So definitely no newbies to the brewing world here. They have one, it's a Ghost Rider. It's actually a white IPA. I've had a couple white IPAs lately, Deschutes, a couple others, and you know, I love IPAs, said it plenty of times.
Right.
White IPA is just adding a little bit more citrus to it, a little more maybe like different types of yeast that's designed more for a Belgian style beer. So it's basically, think of like a wheat beer with a whole crap load of hops.
Yep.
So that's, you know, I love IPAs. It sounds like it's a more citrusy, refreshing taste. Couldn't find too much information on it. Then again, we are in the woods here, so as much as I can, right? But it's made with pale barley, bunch of citrus hops, coriander, which makes sense if you're going for, you know, like a sweeter tasting type of beer. You're definitely going to use the coriander. Not 6% on the ABV, so it's not going to be too crazy for you.
Very impressive for a Utah beer, if you guys are familiar with it. Not to downplay it, it's just what it is. 6% is pretty hefty for a Utah beer.
They had to get some permits to do something like that.
they might have.
So we'll give this bad boy a try. Busting it right out of the can here. Londo with his classy little cup here. See?
Typical color.
Yeah, it looks more like a wheat beer than IPA, but that's what it's supposed to look like, right?
You can smell the hops too.
I got my paper cup here. Got to do it in style. Hey, you make do, man. Look at that. See? That's what you got to put up with.
I think that might have been a Yeti. Little baby Yeti. It might have been an Ewok.
Either way, man. Throw them along. You definitely taste a lot of that citrus.
I just smelled citrus.
Yep. You can smell coriander, which for those of you who don't know, coriander is like a citrusy, almost an orange taste that they'll throw in a lot of beers if they're trying to make it go for like a citrusy flavor. That's what they'll put in there. It's a very common. Look at there it goes again.
There you go.
And so, but yeah, it's pretty common for them to use coriander when you're trying to make like a citrusy, sweeter type of beer.
Yeah, shoot. Well, I've already given it a go. It's actually really clean. A little bit lighter on the hops. It's not so much hop forward, but it is there and you can taste it. It's not very bitter. No, by any means.
Yeah, that's the bad part.
You didn't find any ABU information.
I tried finding the IBU because it intrigued me that, you know, it was an IPA, which typically are up higher on the IBU scale, but with it being a white IPA, it's like they try to pull back on that bitterness a little bit by adding some of the wheat and stuff like that. So I was thinking it would probably be almost a little bit more than some of the beers, like the maybe like when we did Mud Shark, some of their beers that were lower, but not like an IPA that we've done others. So I couldn't find any info though. I was really wanting to see what that IBU was. But it's not bitter.
We can dig it up when we post a review. We'll get some more information and try to follow up with you guys on that. Scale of 1 to 5, what are you going to give it?
You know, it's good. Again, I'm an IPA lover. I love that IPA, the hop flavor to it. I like that the wheat kind of pulls that back a little bit. On a scale of 1 to 5, I'm not going to give it a 4, but I'm going to go 3 3/4. You know, I mean, it's really clean, really refreshing. You know, it's going to be a perfect summertime for those of you that are looking. If you're a session lover, so like you like beers that have a lot of hop flavor to it, but not high, you know, like a 9% or an 8%. This will be a good one for it. So very refreshing still, and still pretty hop forward, but not. I almost taste. It said that it was a pale malt. I'm tasting like some Pilsner malt to it. Yeah, so to me, it's a little dry, and that's what's kind of pulling me back from giving it higher than that.
I like it. I give it a 4.
Okay.
you know, the session type IPAs are really, I mean, I'm getting more into the IPAs,
Yeah.
but sessions, I really haven't had one that I haven't liked, just because I can still get the hops without the real big bitterness to it. And but shit, honestly, for hats off to Utah, Wasatch Brewing Company for doing a really good job on an IPA. When I was younger, living out there, I've been out here for 10 years in Arizona. Really wasn't into the craft scene or into craft beers. And shame on me for not going out and try anymore. I mean, this is probably something I would have ran into years ago, had, you know, if that's how long they've been brewing it. But I'll give it a solid 4. I actually think it's really good.
Yep. So the question comes, I always ask, would you tap it?
With the score of a 4, I would still tap this, especially given the heat. Talking about the heat and trying to still get a full-bodied, full-flavored beer. This is something you can still drink on a hot day. I think you can drink this year-round. Honestly, I mean, this is very.
I agree with that.
I think this is a really good beer. I've had better white IPAs, but it's a really good beer. I would recommend you guys going to try it. So I tap it. I definitely tap it. Would you tap it?
I think this is gonna be the first time that we disagree, though.
Really?
Because it's a good beer. Don't get me wrong. If I see it in the store and I'm looking for something a little bit refreshing, I'll buy it. Don't get me wrong. But again, I've had better white IPAs. I've had getting into more session IPAs, which I think, although that's not what it was going for in being a session IPA, it kind of falls into that category.
Right.
It's not a crazy IPA like some of the other ones we've had. So if I had a group of my buddies and I wanted them to try these lighter IPAs or not as heavy IPAs, I'd have a list of them out there. I wouldn't put it on the list. And that's what I'm going by,
no,
right?
That's fine.
So, but no, so I wouldn't tap it. Good beer, and I agree with you. I mean, they're no newbies to brewing. Definitely, and I don't want to bag on Utah, but when most people think of craft beer, they don't think of Utah.
No, of course.
But they've done some good stuff. I'll give you that.
We've been to festivals and we've tasted a number of different breweries that have come out of northern Utah area, and they're in the game.
Yeah, definitely.
They're definitely in the game.
They have a porter, Polygamy Porter. If we were reviewing that today, I'd be all high on that.
We would have one beer and probably like 10 glasses. If you guys know what I mean about Polygamy Porter, it would make sense.
But that's a good beer. So I don't want to bag on Wasatch because it's a good brewery. They do make some good beer. Just I wouldn't put that.
Yeah. And we're not always going to agree, and I think this is going to be the uniqueness about it. You're getting my opinion, you're getting Gabe's opinion, and if you ever tried any of the beers that we've had, you would relate to my information and Gabe's information. Yep. And you just take it for what it is. We're both here, both have different tastes, and but still, honestly, great job, Wasatch Brewing Company. What is this? Ghost Rider?
Ghost Rider White IPA.
Ghost Rider White IPA. Great job, Londo, Gabe, sitting out here in the woods. We'll see you next time, guys. Cheers.